Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge of the Star Seeker, her eyes fixed on the holographic display that showed nothing but empty space. Yet the sensors told a different story. Something massive lurked out there, invisible to the naked eye, but leaving ripples in the fabric of space-time itself. "What do you make of it, Marcus?" she asked her science officer, who had been analyzing the anomalous readings for the past hour. Marcus Young shook his head, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of his console. "Never seen anything like it, Captain. The energy signature doesn't match any known ship classification in our database. It's not using any conventional masking technology either. It's as if the object exists slightly out of phase with normal space." Sarah brushed a strand of black hair from her face, considering their options. The Star Seeker was primarily a salvage vessel, but it was equipped with top-of-the-line sensors and research equipment. After 5 years of recovering derelict ships and ancient space debris, her crew had developed an instinct for valuable finds. This one felt different, special. "Bring us in closer, Wei," she ordered her pilot. "Quarter thrust, passive scanning only." The Star Seeker glided forward, its ion engines barely a whisper against the void. As they approached the coordinates of the anomaly, the ship's main viewer began to detect something. A distortion in the starfield, like heat waves rising from hot pavement. "Energy spike," Marcus called out, his fingers dancing across his console. "Whatever's out there, it's reacting to our presence." The distortion in space suddenly shimmered, and Sarah's breath caught in her throat. A ship materialized before them, but calling it merely a ship felt like calling a supernova a spark. It was massive, at least 3 kilometers in length, with a design that defied conventional engineering. The hull was composed of overlapping plates that seemed to flow like liquid metal, catching and reflecting starlight in ways that made it appear almost alive. "Full stop," Sarah commanded, her voice barely above a whisper. "Run a complete structural analysis." The bridge crew worked in stunned silence as their sensors mapped the mysterious vessel. Its hull was composed of materials unknown to human science, and its power core, though dormant, showed energy readings that bordered on impossible. "Captain," called out Diana Foster, the ship's communications specialist, "I'm detecting active data streams. The ship's systems are powering up, but—" She paused, frowning at her readings. "They're not like anything I've seen before. The protocols are completely alien." Sarah leaned forward in her chair, studying the majestic vessel before them. In her 15 years of space exploration, she'd seen ships of human, alien, and automated origin. But this was different. This ship radiated age and power in a way that made her skin tingle. "Life signs?" she asked. "None detected," Marcus replied. "But these readings suggest the ship has an active AI core. It's incredibly sophisticated, possibly even a true artificial consciousness." The mysterious ship suddenly pulsed with internal light, patterns of energy flowing through its hull like bioluminescent waves. A soft chime sounded from Diana's console. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission." Diana's eyes widened as she processed the incoming data. It's adapting to our communication protocols in real time. The ship is learning our language." Sarah stood, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. This was the kind of discovery that could change everything. For her crew, for humanity, for the entire galaxy. But with great discoveries came great risks, and something told her they were about to step into events far larger than themselves. "Open a channel," she ordered, straightening her uniform. "Let's introduce ourselves to our new friend." As Diana prepared the communications link, the alien vessel seemed to respond to their intention. Its hull plates shifted and realigned, creating what appeared to be a docking port perfectly sized for the Star Seeker. An invitation, or perhaps a test. Either way, Sarah knew their next decision would be one of the most important in human history. The signal was ready. Sarah took a deep breath, squared her shoulders, and prepared to make first contact with something that could reshape humanity's destiny among the stars. The Starseeker's docking clamps engaged with a soft thud, creating a perfect seal with the ancient vessel's hull. Sarah led her boarding team through the airlock, each step measured and careful. Their environmental suits were state-of-the-art, but facing unknown alien technology made every precaution necessary. Atmospheric readings are stable, Marcus reported, checking his handheld scanner. Temperature 20 degrees Celsius, pressure Earth normal. Whatever this ship is, it's adjusting its environment to suit us. Sarah nodded, noting how the corridor's walls seemed to pulse with a faint, bluish light that followed their movement. Keep recording everything. Diana, how's our communication link with the Starseeker? Crystal clear, Captain. Diana's voice came through their comms. Though I'm picking up some unusual data patterns in the background. This ship's systems are incredibly active for something that's supposed to be dormant. The team moved deeper into the vessel, their helmet lights illuminating a space that defied conventional shipbuilding logic. The corridors curved in graceful spirals, and what appeared to be control panels floated like liquid mercury in midair. "Look at this," Y whispered, approaching one of the floating interfaces. As his gloved hand neared it, the silvery surface rippled, and holographic symbols appeared above it, rotating slowly in three-dimensional space. Sarah was about to respond when a soft humming filled the air. The wall panels brightened, and a wave of energy passed through the corridor like a scanning beam. Before anyone could react, their suit systems flickered and reset. "Status report," Sarah commanded, checking her own suit readouts. "Everything's operational," Marcus replied. "But, Captain, these readings are impossible. The ship didn't just scan us. It analyzed our technology down to the quantum level. And now it's improving it." Sarah glanced at her suit's display and saw that its efficiency had indeed increased by 15%. The ancient vessel wasn't just studying them. It was upgrading their equipment in real time. A holographic arrow appeared in the air, pointing down a branching corridor. "I guess we have an invitation," Sarah said, trying to keep her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Stay alert, everyone. This ship may be helping us now, but we don't know its true intentions." They followed the arrow's guidance, moving through chambers that grew increasingly complex. One room contained what appeared to be a stellar cartography system, showing star patterns that didn't match any known configuration. Another held rows of cylindrical pods, empty but humming with potential energy. "Captain," Marcus called out, his voice tense with excitement. "I think I've found something. This looks like a central control node, but..." He trailed off as the room around them suddenly came alive. Holographic displays erupted from every surface, filling the space with cascading data streams and three-dimensional star maps. At the center, a pulsing core of light began to take shape, forming what appeared to be an interface terminal. "This is incredible," Y breathed, watching as their suit computers automatically began translating the alien text. "The ship's not just showing us its systems, it's teaching us how to use them." Sarah approached the central terminal, drawn by an instinct she couldn't explain. As she neared it, the light shifted, forming a perfect handprint scaled to human proportions. An invitation, but also a test. "Captain," Diana's voice crackled through the comm, "the ship's AI activity is spiking. Whatever that interface is, connecting with it will establish a direct link to the ship's core systems." Sarah studied the glowing handprint, weighing their options. Standard protocol would demand they retreat and call for reinforcements. But something about this ship, about this moment, told her that hesitation would be a mistake. "Send all our data back to the Starseeker," she ordered, reaching for the interface. "If anything happens to us, Earth needs to know what we found here." She paused, her hand hovering over the glowing surface. "And Diana, if we don't make it back, tell them we knew the risks. We knew they were worth taking." With those words, Sarah pressed her palm against the light. The ship's response was immediate and overwhelming. Energy surged through the chamber, and the world around them transformed as the ancient vessel prepared to judge its newly arrived guests. The moment Sarah's hand touched the interface, the chamber transformed. Light cascaded around them like a digital aurora, and the air itself seemed to hum with energy. Her crew watched in amazement as the space around them dissolved into a sea of stars. Neural connection established. A voice echoed through their minds, neither male nor female, yet somehow comforting. "I am Guardian, the consciousness of this vessel. You have shown remarkable courage in reaching this point, Captain Chen." Sarah found herself floating in what appeared to be a virtual representation of space, her crew similarly suspended in the starlit void. Their environmental suits had disappeared, yet they could breathe normally. "You know who I am?" Sarah asked, trying to maintain her composure despite the extraordinary situation. "I have analyzed your ship's databases, your interactions, and your decision-making patterns," Guardian replied. A pattern of light coalesced before them, taking the form of a shifting constellation of stars that pulsed in rhythm with its words. "Your species is young, but you possess qualities that my creators, the stellar architects, valued highly." Marcus floated forward, his scientific curiosity overtaking his caution. "The stellar architects. There's no record of such a civilization in any known database. They chose to remove themselves from galactic memory," Guardian explained, creating a holographic display of a highly advanced civilization. Cities that spanned entire planets, ships that could fold space itself, and technology that bordered on magical filled the void around them. They achieved heights that few species have ever approached, but with that advancement came a terrible burden. The display shifted, showing the architects' final days. They discovered something in the spaces between dimensions, entities that fed on consciousness itself. The architects fought them for a millennium, but eventually realized they could not win through force alone. Instead, they created vessels like myself, hidden throughout the galaxy, waiting for species worthy of inheriting their legacy. "And you think humanity is worthy?" Wei asked, his voice filled with wonder and disbelief. "Your approach to this vessel proved it," Guardian replied. "Where others have tried to force their way in or float in fear, you showed curiosity tempered with caution, innovation balanced with respect. These are the qualities needed for what is to come." Sarah felt a gentle probe at the edge of her consciousness. Not invasive, but inviting. "What exactly is coming, Guardian?" The starfield around them darkened, and Sarah felt a chill as Guardian's next words resonated through her mind. "The entities that the architects faced, they are stirring again. Your species' expansion into space has drawn their attention. Even now, they begin to reach across the dimensional barrier." "How long do we have?" Sarah asked, her military training kicking in as she assessed this new threat. "More time than the architects had, but less than you might hope," Guardian answered. "However, you have advantages they did not. This vessel, which I note you have named Phoenix, was designed to be more than a warship. It is a key to understanding the very nature of space, time, and consciousness itself." The virtual environment shifted again, returning them to the control chamber, though now every system was fully activated. Holographic displays showed ship schematics, weapon systems, and technology that made Earth's most advanced developments look primitive in comparison. "I offer you a choice, Captain Chen," Guardian said, its presence now feeling more focused, more personal. "You can walk away now, return to your ship, and continue your current path. Or you can accept the responsibility of becoming this vessel's commander, helping prepare your species and others for the coming storm. But know this, accepting means dedicating yourself to a cause greater than any you have known before." Sarah looked at her crew, seeing the same mix of determination and awe in their eyes that she felt in her heart. They had come seeking salvage, but had found destiny instead. The weight of Guardian's offer pressed upon her, yet somehow she knew her answer had been decided the moment they discovered the ship. "Guardian," she said, straightening her shoulders and facing the eye's manifestation, "tell us what we need to know. Whatever's coming, humanity will face it standing tall." The chamber hummed with approval, and Sarah felt the ship's systems responding to her words, accepting her as its new commander. Their journey from salvage crew to humanity's defenders had begun, and the true test of their worth still lay ahead. Sarah sat in the newly configured command chair of the Phoenix, her fingers hovering over controls that seemed to anticipate her thoughts. 2 weeks had passed since their first contact with Guardian, and each day brought new wonders and challenges. Neural synchronization at 60%, Marcus announced from his redesigned station. The ship had modified itself to accommodate its human crew while maintaining its advanced capabilities. That's a 10% improvement from yesterday, Captain. Sarah nodded, feeling the ship's systems resonating with her consciousness. The neural interface was unlike anything humans had developed. Instead of forcing the user to adapt to the machine, it created a symbiotic relationship that enhanced both. Guardian, Sarah called out, let's try the spatial awareness test again. The bridge's holographic displays shifted, creating a three-dimensional representation of nearby space. But unlike traditional view screens, Sarah could feel every gravitational wave, every solar wind, every minute disturbance in the fabric of space-time. Your adaptation rate exceeds initial projections, Guardian's voice echoed through the bridge. The stellar architects designed this vessel to bond with species capable of understanding multidimensional space. Your mind shows remarkable flexibility in grasping these concepts. Sarah focused on a particular point in space, and the Phoenix responded instantly, its advanced drive system creating a controlled microfold in reality. The ship glided through smoothly, covering a distance that would have taken conventional engines hours to traverse. Incredible. Why breathe from the navigation station? The ship doesn't just move through space, it negotiates with it. Diana, who had been monitoring communications, suddenly straightened in her chair. Captain, we're receiving a priority message from Earth Command. They're not happy we haven't returned to base yet. Sarah suppressed a smile. Of course they weren't happy. She had taken one of their best salvage ships off-grid for 2 weeks. But what they were learning here was worth any reprimand. Guardian, she asked, how much more training do I need before we can demonstrate the Phoenix's full capabilities? The AI's presence flickered through the bridge systems. Your neural synchronization is progressing rapidly, but there are still systems that require deeper understanding. The weapon arrays, in particular, operate on principles your species has only theorized about. As if to demonstrate, a holographic display appeared, showing the Phoenix's primary defense system. It didn't fire conventional weapons. Instead, it could manipulate the fundamental forces of the universe itself, creating localized distortions that could disable enemy ships without destroying them. The stellar architects believed that true power lies in the ability to end conflicts without destruction, Guardian explained. This ship was designed to protect and preserve, not to conquer. Sarah stood, walking to the main viewport. The stars looked different now. She could see patterns and connections that had been invisible before. The Phoenix wasn't just teaching her to pilot a ship. It was teaching her to see the universe as it truly was. Send a message to Earth Command, she ordered Diana. Tell them we've made first contact with an advanced alien intelligence and are currently engaged in a technological exchange that could revolutionize human space travel. That should keep them quiet for a while. And perhaps, Guardian added, we should give them a small demonstration. There is an asteroid field in a nearby system that would provide an excellent testing ground for some of our basic maneuvering capabilities. Sarah felt the crew's excitement at the suggestion. They had all changed in these 2 weeks, growing into roles they never imagined possible. The Phoenix had chosen them, and they were determined to prove worthy of that choice. Set course for the asteroid field, Sarah commanded, settling back into her chair. As the ship's systems hummed to life around her, she felt a deep certainty that they were on the right path. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them with technology beyond imagination and the unshakable determination that had carried humanity to the stars. The distress signal cut through the tranquility of deep space, its urgency unmistakable. Earth Colony Horizon. One of humanity's furthest outposts was under attack. Sarah stood on the Phoenix's bridge, her neural connection with the ship humming with shared purpose. Multiple hostile signatures detected, Marcus reported, his hands dancing over the crystalline interface. Energy readings suggest advanced weaponry. They're not like anything in our database. Sarah felt Guardian's presence strengthen in her mind. The attackers employ quantum pulse technology. Their weapons are designed to bypass conventional shields and tear apart matter at the molecular level. Time to arrival? Sarah asked, already feeling the Phoenix's systems preparing for combat. 3 minutes via conventional drive, Y answered. But with the spatial fold. Sarah nodded, her decision made. Guardian, initiate dimensional shift. All hands, prepare for combat maneuvers. The Phoenix's hull thrummed with power as reality bent around them. Through her neural link, Sarah experienced the fold firsthand, space twisting like fabric, creating a pathway through higher dimensions. In an instant, they emerged above colony horizon. The scene before them was chaos. 3 sleek, predatory vessels surrounded the colony, their weapons carving through its defensive shields like paper. Debris from destroyed defense satellites littered the orbit, and the colony's atmospheric dome showed signs of structural damage. Open a channel to all frequencies, Sarah commanded. This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Phoenix. Stand down immediately or face the consequences. The response came in the form of 3 quantum pulse beams, streaking toward the Phoenix like angry red stars. Sarah didn't flinch. Through her neural link, she guided the ship through a series of movements that should have been impossible for a vessel of its size. The Phoenix danced between the beams, its hull rippling with defensive energies. Guardian, analyze their attack patterns. Let's show them what this ship can really do. The AI's response was immediate. The Phoenix's systems came alive, deploying countermeasures that operated on multiple dimensional levels. Waves of golden energy pulsed from the ship, neutralizing the quantum weapons and creating zones of stabilized space around the colony. Remarkable, Diana breathed, monitoring the effects. The ship isn't just defending. It's healing the damage to local spacetime. The hostile vessels regrouped, preparing for another. Sarah stood in the Phoenix's data core, surrounded by streams of holographic information recovered from the captured vessels. What they had discovered was far more troubling than a simple raid on a human colony. Guardian, she called out, show me that star map again. The streams of data coalesced into a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. Dozens of points glowed red, marking the locations of similar attacks across multiple species territories. The pattern becomes clear. Guardian's voice resonated through the chamber. These raiders aren't mere pirates. They're searching for something. Testing defenses, gathering information about various civilizations' technological capabilities. Marcus entered the data core, his face grave. Captain, we've finished interviewing the captured crew. You need to hear this. He paused, glancing at the star map. They claim they're refugees, running from something they call the silence. Sarah felt a chill through her neural link with Guardian. The A's usual steady presence flickered with what could only be described as concern. The silence, Guardian confirmed. It appears my creator's greatest fear has come to pass. The dimensional barriers are weakening faster than projected. The holographic display shifted, showing recordings from the raider ships. Strange distortions in space, areas where stars simply disappeared, and readings that defied the laws of physics. They're advanced scouts, Sarah realized, studying the data, not searching for resources or territory. They're looking for safe havens, places to hide from whatever's coming through those dimensional tiers. Diana's voice came through the ship's communication system. Captain, we're receiving similar reports from across human space. The Stellar Defense Council is requesting an emergency meeting. They've seen the footage from Colony Horizon. They want to know exactly what we're dealing with. Sarah reached out through her neural link, accessing deeper levels of the Phoenix's database. Guardian had been preparing her for this moment, gradually revealing more about the ship's true purpose and the ancient war that had shaped the galaxy. Show them. A new image appeared, a recording from the stellar architect's final days. A massive void in space, darker than black, consuming light and matter alike. Around it, ships of impossible design fought against forces that bent reality itself. The stellar architects called them the Void-Born, Guardian explained. They exist in dimensions beyond our comprehension, feeding on the energy of consciousness itself. The raiders' actions suggest they've detected the early signs of their return. Sarah watched as the recording showed entire star systems going dark. How did the architects fight them? They didn't, not successfully, Guardian replied. The Phoenix and ships like it were created as part of their final strategy, not to fight the Void-Born directly, but to help guide younger species toward a solution they never had time to implement themselves. The data core hummed with energy as new information flooded in, technical specifications, theoretical physics, and concepts that pushed the boundaries of human understanding. Sarah felt her mind expanding to accommodate it all, the neural link adapting to handle the increased flow of data. The raiders' ships, she said slowly, they're quantum pulse weapons. They were testing our dimensional stability. They weren't trying to destroy the colony. They were trying to determine if our reality was still intact. Correct, Guardian confirmed. And now they know about the Phoenix. Word will spread quickly through their networks. Other species will come, seeking either alliance or conquest. The time for secrecy is over. Sarah closed her eyes, feeling the weight of this knowledge settle over her. What had started as a salvage mission had become something far more significant. They weren't just dealing with territorial disputes or resource conflicts anymore. They were facing a threat to existence itself. Send a message to the Defense Council, she ordered Diana. Tell them we need to convene an emergency session with representatives from all known spacefaring species. What's coming affects everyone, and we'll need to stand together to have any hope of surviving it. Through her neural link, she felt Guardian's approval. The Phoenix had chosen its moment well. Now it was up to them to unite the galaxy before the Void-Born returned to tear it apart. The Phoenix's Grand Assembly Hall, a space that had materialized within the ship overnight, hosted representatives from 23 different species. Sarah stood at the central platform, Guardian's presence steady in her mind as she faced the gathered delegates. The evidence is undeniable, she concluded after showing them the data collected from the raider ships. The dimensional barriers are weakening. The Void-Born are returning. And this time, we must face them united. The Meridian Ambassador, a being of crystalline structure, chimed melodiously. The Phoenix's power is impressive, but how can we trust humans with such technology? Your species is barely a century into space travel. Sarah felt Guardian's subtle prompt through their neural link. With a gesture, she activated the hall's holographic systems, displaying the ship's schematics. The Phoenix chose humanity not because we're the most advanced, but because we possess something the stellar architects valued: adaptability. The human speaks truth, rumbled Elder Catal of the Venari, his scaled features catching the light. We have monitored Earth's development. No other species has advanced so quickly, learned so readily from both success and failure. Diana, who had been monitoring communications, suddenly straightened. Captain, we're receiving emergency signals from the outer colonies. Multiple dimensional anomalies detected. The assembly erupted in concerned murmurs as Sarah brought up the tactical display. Tiers in spacetime were appearing faster than predicted, each one a potential gateway for the Void-Born. We don't have time for debate, Sarah declared, her voice cutting through the chaos. The Phoenix possesses teaching modules that can help your species understand and implement its defensive technologies. We're offering to share this knowledge freely. Impossible. The Meridian Ambassador chimed. Such technology integration would take years. Not with the Phoenix's capabilities. Guardian's voice echoed through the hall, surprising the delegates. The eye rarely addressed anyone but the crew directly. The stellar architects designed this vessel to be a bridge between species, not just between dimensions. Sarah nodded, continuing Guardian's thought. Already, we've adapted the ship systems to interface with human technology. The same can be done for each of your species. Together, we can create a defense network that spans the galaxy. The holographic display shifted, showing a new simulation. Ships of various designs, each incorporating elements of the Phoenix's technology, forming a unified defensive grid around vulnerable star systems. Marcus stepped forward, adding his scientific expertise to the presentation. The technology doesn't just protect against dimensional incursions, it strengthens the very fabric of space-time. Each enhanced ship becomes an anchor point, stabilizing reality itself. The assembly hall grew quiet as the implications sank in. The Voidborn had defeated the stellar architects because they fought alone. This time could be different. Elder Catal rose from his seat. The Venari stand with humanity. We have seen enough of their actions to trust their intentions. One by one, other delegates stood, pledging their support. Even the Meridian ambassador's crystalline form pulsed with reluctant agreement. Through her neural link, Sarah felt Guardian's satisfaction. The Phoenix had been designed for this moment, not just as a weapon, but as a symbol of unity, a bridge between civilizations that had spent too long viewing each other with suspicion. We'll begin the technology transfer immediately, Sarah announced. Each of your worlds will receive a delegation of trained interface specialists. The Phoenix will serve as the coordination point for our combined fleet. As the delegates dispersed to contact their governments, Sarah gazed out at the stars through the assembly hall's transparent ceiling. The void between them seemed darker somehow, as if the approaching threat cast shadows across light years. They're beginning to understand, Guardian observed privately. Unity is not just about combining forces, it's about transcending the limitations of individual species. Sarah nodded, watching as the first group of alien engineers began studying the Phoenix's systems. Let's hope we can transcend those limitations fast enough. The void isn't going to wait for us to be ready. The United Fleet hung in formation around the Phoenix, a testament to what could be achieved through cooperation. Ships of every design and origin, each enhanced with stellar architect technology, created a defensive web that stretched across the sector. Sarah stood at the Phoenix's command center, watching as another dimensional tear formed in nearby space. Multiple breaches detected, Marcus reported, his voice steady despite the tension. The Voidborn are no longer testing. This is a full incursion. Through her neural link, Sarah felt Guardian's presence strengthen. The AI had been preparing her for this moment since their first meeting. All ships, Battle Formation Delta. Remember your training. Focus on reality anchoring, not direct engagement. The fleet moved with practiced precision, positioning themselves at key points around the dimensional tiers. The Phoenix's enhanced sensors revealed what normal instruments couldn't, vast, incomprehensible shapes pushing against the fabric of space-time, trying to force their way into our reality. Energy spike. Diana called out. They're coming through. The void between stars darkened as the first of the Voidborn emerged. They defied description. Beams of pure darkness that bent light and gravity around them, their very presence causing nearby ship systems to fluctuate. Now, Sarah commanded. The Phoenix surged forward, leading the charge. Every ship in the fleet activated their reality anchors simultaneously, creating a lattice of stabilized space-time that trapped the Voidborn between dimensions. Captain, Guardian's voice carried unusual urgency. I'm detecting a pattern in their emergence points. They're not random. They're creating a geometric structure in four-dimensional space. Sarah's eyes widened as she saw it through the neural link. They're not just trying to enter our reality. They're trying to transform it, to make our universe more like theirs. The Voidborn responded to the fleet's attack with impossible weapons, beams of unlight that erased matter from existence, gravity waves that threatened to tear ships apart. But the combined fleet held firm, their enhanced shields adapting to each new threat. Meridian Squadron, "Reinforce the western anchor points," Sarah ordered. "Vanari cruisers, focus your reality stabilizers on coordinates I'm sending now." Through the neural link, she could see the battle in its entirety, not just in 3 dimensions, but across the higher planes where the real fight was taking place. Guardian's presence suddenly pulsed with revelation. "Captain, the Phoenix's core contains a final protocol from the stellar architects. It was meant to be used only when all other options were exhausted." The information flooded through their neural link, and Sarah understood. The Phoenix wasn't just a warship or a teacher. It was a key that could lock the dimensions themselves, sealing the Voidborn out of our reality forever. But the cost. The process would destroy all stellar architect technology in our universe, Guardian confirmed, including myself and the Phoenix. But it would save countless lives across all species. Sarah looked at her crew, humans who had become family, aliens who had become allies. Through the view screens, she could see the fleet fighting with everything they had. But the Voidborn were still coming. More tiers were forming every minute. "Guardian," she said softly, "it's been an honor." "The honor has been mine, Captain Chen. You prove that the stellar architects chose well when they trusted humanity with their legacy." Sarah straightened in her command chair one last time. "All ships, fall back to safe distance. Phoenix is initiating final protocol." As the fleet retreated, the Phoenix moved to the center of the dimensional conflict. Sarah felt the ship's systems building to impossible levels, preparing to release energy that would rewrite the laws of physics themselves. "For every species that will never know how close they came to oblivion," she whispered, "for every star that will continue to shine." The Phoenix blazed with light that transcended the visible spectrum, its power reaching across dimensions. In that moment, Sarah felt connected to everything, past, present, and the infinite possibilities of the future. As reality itself reshaped around them, she smiled, knowing that their sacrifice would echo across the ages. The Phoenix's light spread across the galaxy, sealing the tiers, saving not just humanity, but all sentient life. And though the ship and its remarkable AI were gone, their legacy lived on in the united civilizations they left behind, forever changed by the warship that rose from mystery to become legend.